Glory be to God in the highest, from whom all blessings flow, and they flow, and they flow, and they flow. What a joy it is to be in this space today. We give all the glory and all the thanks and all the praises to God for making it possible for us to be here again today. We are grateful. We are thankful for how the month of August has advanced. We are thankful for all that it will yet bring. And I want to use this opportunity to welcome everybody who is joining in. For those that are joining live, you're welcome. And for those who will be viewing afterwards on Facebook, on YouTube, or everywhere you might be coming across this video, you're most welcome. We are delighted to have you. We do not take it for granted that you're joining us, whether in the past or joining us today or in the future. We are immensely grateful. And it is our prayer that you will be blessed, you will be enriched, you will be transformed through your participation, through your presence, and then through your partnership as we desire. This is the Goodly Heritage Network. We are a faith-based non-profit, and by God's grace, we're out to shape perspectives, to transform, to impact places, and to transform people, to shape perspectives, transform places, and impact people. And that is why we engage, among other things, in conversations like we are going to do today. Our core values are those of faith. We are faith-based. We believe that transformation that will be sustainable is premised upon godliness. That is our major core value. And so you will find us having God talks. You'll find us talking about spirituality and related conversations, which we usually do every first Saturday of the month. And you'll find us praying as well. We have prayer time last Saturdays of the month. But in between, one of my pastors have talked about the middle, what happens in the middle. Things like this, the roundtable conversations, the colloquiums, the reflection talks, and so on and so forth. And so it is my pleasure that we're having one of the most exciting parts of our programs, which is a roundtable. We believe that every voice is important, every perspective should be brought to bear. If, everyone will be enriched, it should also be an opportunity to enrich others. And that is why we engage in this kind of community talk, but that we refer to as a roundtable conversation. This one is really interesting because we didn't have much time to think about it. It came to the fore. We're a network that usually doesn't jump on trends. We usually do not. But it is not a matter of principle. We basically work as we're inspired, as we see a need. But this particular one is going to be the first of the kind that will be a trend-informed conversation. Excuse me. So people call it different names, Tonye versus Tony, I respect culture and the likes. But irrespective of what, tags may have been put on it, we felt like the conversation can be taken deeper. We want to give a shout out to the many people who have discussed this. This is not in a bid to say that they are wrong. This is not in a bid to say that we have a better perspective. We are only privileged to add our voice to what seems to be of societal interest. And that is why today, as a roundtable discussion, we are considering relationality, ageism, and respect, navigating cultural bias in a global society. So, as you may already know, our roundtable talks are not, expert opinions from subject matter experts. No, our roundtables are opportunities for us to share perspectives, and to rub minds and to be informed about other people's outlooks. To do that in a peaceful jovial environment or condition. And so that is why we put out a caveat that no one should take this as a recommendation, so to say. We are basically stimulating conversation and then encouraging the culture of open conversations, encouraging the culture of exchanges that can be mutually benefiting and mutually enriching. And then, apart from that, we welcome comments and questions from everyone joining in. So if you're viewing from YouTube or Facebook, I want to invite you to put a comment, say a shout out, let us know that you're here. We will try, we're conditioned and constrained by time, but we will try to take as many comments as is possible. And so feel free to join the conversation. Even after the live session, you can also put in your comments on the different platforms that you may be viewing on. I'm excited and I look forward to the conversation that will begin very shortly, but not until we say a word of prayer. Dear God, we are thankful because every blessing comes from you. We are grateful because you have made it possible within a short time to be able to put together this round table. So we ask for your blessings, we ask for your inspiration, we ask for insights, we ask for cordiality, we ask for open-mindedness. We ask very importantly that we will all learn, we will be open. And then we also pray that our society will be better for it, because at the end of the day, that is what is most important. We pray for those who need healing, that they will be healed. Those who need encouragement will be encouraged. Those who need information and knowledge will be so informed. At the end, every one of us will be blessed. Thank you for our panelists who have been so loving, so kind to contribute to this conversation, to share from their pool of wisdom. We ask that they will continue to grow stronger and better, and that there will be more channels for them to be blessings unto others. We just ask that you will reward them and bless them. And we ask for the Goodly Heritage Network that you will continue to take us from glory to glory, from beauty to beauty, from grace to grace, from strength to strength, and from height to height. And so we'll begin in your name, dear God, and we ask that all glory will be yours and the blessings will be ours. In Jesus' matchless name, amen. Yes, now we are getting into it. It is my pleasure to welcome our very distinguished panelists. Before that, please, I want to plead with us. We don't usually plead at this time of at this stage of the program, but because this is a round table, please do well to share the YouTube link. Our Facebook, Goodly Heritage Network Facebook platform has not been able to host a live session because we're still trusting God for followers. We have reached a good point, about the midpoint of what Facebook says we need, but we need at least 100 followers. We are close to 50. So because of that, the live is hosted on my own Facebook page. If you're not on YouTube, feel free to go to Facebook, Oluwatobi Ifeadidiro. As you can see on the screen is the name, the Facebook name. And then you'll be able to watch live. Otherwise, YouTube should be sufficient. But please share the link, invite people, and then let's trust God for how this will go. All right. It is my pleasure to welcome our panelists. I'm going to introduce them, not ladies first this time, but in the order at which they obliged our request to be on this conversation. They're going to introduce themselves very briefly the more, but I'm just going to bring them on stage. And I'm glad to welcome the Reverend Sunday Akonde. Thank you, Reverend, for being on this space today. And then we have the energetic, wonderful, brilliant Mr. Taiwo Oshorinde also joining us. One can tell that he may not like to be up really, really early, but because of his love, his kindness, and his show of gesture, he's here. Mr. Taiwo, we are blessed to have you. Thank you for joining the conversation. Oh, ladies first, but now ladies first from the rear. First is first in any way. We have the delectable, beautiful, wonderful, intelligent Miss Enebili. I'm not sure I got up to 95. I pronounced it and I got 95. This time, I'm not sure I got up to that. But yes, we're also blessed to have you. Welcome on board. So I'm just going to give our panelists a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds or thereabout, to introduce themselves, to say hi to the guests, so that those who are joining in can know who we are before we dive deep into the conversation. So we'll take it in the reverse now. We'll allow Miss Ebele to say hello to those joining in. Yes, over to you, ma'am.
Hi everyone, and well, you went down to like an 80%. Enebili,
Oh my
just
God.
think Enebili Eleboa, the actor. That's pretty simple. Thank
Okay.
you, Toby, for inviting me. I am a filmmaker. I write and produce film and TV shows. And I also have a podcast called Get Intimate with Ebele, where I discuss human stories. I've always been intrigued by human stories, and that's what I've basically done for the last 10 to 15 years. And I've also lectured scripting and storytelling. So I would say I'm multifaceted. That's what I would say. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Miss Ebele. Yes, that's you've heard part of it. Please feel free. Maybe towards the end of the program, we're going to have guests, panelists also say more about how you can connect with them, just in case you want to engage deeper in some of their contributions. But yes, we are blessed to have you. I thought you would say Mr. Toby now. Mr. Tony is what is reigning now. Miss Ebele. All right, you're most welcome. Mr. Taiwo, yes, we would love to meet you.
Okay. Good morning. Can you? Good morning. My name is Taiwo Oshirinde. I'm a geologist and data scientist by profession. I like to read and sometimes do some research and publish some work. And what else? I bring my visual, but that's what I do most of the time. Just read and having written writings as well. And but most of my day is spent through probably coding and doing some other stuff related to career. Yeah, that's a little about me.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Taiwo. What joy it is to have you on this space. Geologist, very brilliant mind. I've known Mr. Taiwo for a very long time. Cordial, wonderful, respectful. So he's going to be telling us about that. You're welcome to the round table. I'm going to turn it over to the Reverend Sunday Akonde to introduce himself and then to welcome everyone joining us from different spaces.
Okay, thank you. My name is Sunday Akonde. I'm a minister of the gospel. I also write. I'm a writer of literary works. I counsel. I'm a counseling psychologist. I discuss governance. I like to discuss governance and leadership because I'm a leadership development enthusiast. Okay, so I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to see the faces of other members of the panel. And Dr. Toby, thank you for inviting us. I trust God that it's going to be a wonderful and beautiful session here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. And so you have met our wonderful panelists, and then we're going to jump right into it. So, like we said, the topic of the conversation today has to do with just this event that made the rounds. We had a young lady. I could characterize her as young, looking at her face, but I mean, I'm not sure that it's in the public space what her age could be, but she was addressing this popular, famous man who is well known, older, again, maybe by public assessment, and then she called him by name. There was a little drama up until he corrected it and said, hey, you won't address me like that. I'm not into the Oyibo stuff. We are into Oyibo products and Oyibo food sometimes and Oyibo clothing, but we're not going to take this Oyinbo kind of calling me by name, if I'm way older than you. Now I'm reading into the conversation now. Whatever the relationality gap could be, he was saying it's not acceptable to me for you to call me by my name. And interestingly, she took to it, she addressed the man, but it then began to make the rounds for reasons best known to people. People, a lot of videos started coming up, it was circulated and so on and so forth. Reverend Sunday, what came to your mind? What was the first thing that came to mind when you saw that clip? What did that clip mean to you?
Yeah, well, thank you. When I saw the video, as a matter of fact, I'm one of the people who wrote about it when I saw it. Well, it wasn't strange to me. I was only a little bit shocked. Yes, I had a mixed feeling. The first feeling was that this lady was just trying to exhibit whatever it is that she was taught as etiquette of the ethics of the profession she is into, and she was trying to impress. This lady was trying to impress her boss that okay, you have taught me well, and I'm doing it in the right way that I'm supposed to do it. So that was the first thing that came to mind. But on the second, my second feeling as an African man who understands respect and all of that was that when the chairman corrected her, I felt okay. What is this hypocrisy or what, that you taught us something and you came out in the public to say something against whatever it is that you have taught him. So I had a mixture of feelings. One, she was doing her work. The other way around, okay, this an elderly person that is saying no to whatever it is, even if we have taught you that you should know what you should do. When it comes to me personally, so I saw it as though, in psychology, there's something we call situational awareness. And I felt, okay, that should, every African child is supposed to know that because, our culture is something that has to do with, that magnifies respect. And it's not something that you'll be taught. Everything when it comes to respect is not taught. You are supposed to know some things, even if you are not. There are some unwritten codes in Africa. That is what we call body language, as well, reading the room and all of that she was supposed to know. So all of that, came together in my mind. So when I read different pieces, I felt, oh, well, some people supported the professional ethics that the lady was upholding. Some other people also supported the chairman who was upholding the African culture. While some people stayed in between to say, okay, if you will not accept this from this lady or from others, you shouldn't have taught them to do that in the first place. If you say no to whatever it is that they are saying by calling you first name, then you should be able to have told them they should not do that, even at work or whatever meeting do you have together. So it's a mixture of feelings. I believe that we'll be able to explain, to talk more on it as we go on.
Thank you so much. Reverend has touched on a lot of things that we may eventually circle back to. I think that he has established a kind of complexity in situation or in scenario. He has established people taking different sides, and he has also looked at some of the approaches to the issue. Miss Ebele, was she wrong? Was he wrong?
The truth
Is there a villain? Is there a villain in this story? Is there a victor in this story? What was wrong and what was right? I know this is so much questions in one. But now I want to look at from your perspective, because it looks like the public approach to this is that some a party must have been wrong. People think that another party must have been right. So I've been seeing people take sides. Do you share some of the opinions with regards to being right and wrong that you might have found in the public space?
When I first watched the video, it reminded me of a similar video that I had seen. Something similar happened to Maya Angelou. Someone had addressed her as Maya, and she said, "No, you will not call me Maya. I am 60." I think she said she was 62 or 66, and she's like, "You address me by Dr. Angelo." So when I saw that video, that was the first thing that came to my mind. I didn't even have the context of the fact that they were taught to address people informally, to say Tony or Ebele or Toby. I didn't have that context. I didn't know. It was up until much later that I found out that, oh, this was the scenario. Anyway, I'm a filmmaker and we're very informal to a certain level. But then you wouldn't really, there are some rooms that you would enter, you will struggle between calling the person by their name or calling the person the title of either doctor or Mr. or Miss. And given the context of what she was taught, I think emotional intelligence of what I would expect would be for her to ask him, what would you prefer I call you? Do you want me to call you Mr. Elumelu or do you want me to call you Tony? But then it has already happened too. We're thinking about it on that spot. That may not have even crossed her mind. And also on that spot, Mr. Tony reflex would have been to correct the person because that's what he's used to doing to other people. Do you get? So a lot of things is an afterthought that you now say, oh, maybe I should have done it this way, or maybe I should have done it that way. We don't know. We can only assume. However, being the generation that I am, we were taught subconsciously that respect and honor are cultural currencies. And we attune a lot to our ebons, our elders, and how we learn wisdom from them. Hearing her speak, another thing that I see is kind of like courage. You get liver to just stand up and talk like that, which is audacity that a lot of us have kind of shrunk because of a lot of ways we have been taught to respect elders and not necessarily say our mind. And you don't know what opportunities you gain or lose when you shrink yourself because of cultural, like I said, how you've been attuned, your environment has shaped you. But then there's also, she's in a situation where she's going to learn from him. And when you're going to learn from someone, like when Toby and I had that conversation, he said that when I say that culture, currency, that means it's transactional. And I said, in a way, it is transactional because she's going at his foot to learn from him, his leadership. She wants something from him, right? You would also kind of play to their roles, if you get what I'm saying. So you wouldn't want to do something that already puts you at a negative. That means the person would not really need to pour into you the wisdom and connections, which is why we thrive a lot on networks and connections when we want to either do deals, why politics, they have godfathers, why even in churches, they have elders and people that counsel you. These are cultural currencies that are subconscious that we don't talk about. So a lot of things that someone can do can just, you realize that I don't like this person. And you cannot actually say why you don't like the person. And it's different. What we term as respect and honor is subjective. Generation to generation is different things. For us millennials, this might be it. For a Gen Z, it's something slightly different. But we all are shaped by the environment and the time we were born, and even the country or the race we're born in. Like I was saying, if you go to somewhere in Asia now and then you call someone by name, but you don't bow down, the bowing down might be seen as disrespect, but in your culture, you don't bow down. And if you're in that new environment and you don't know, you've already disrespected the person will take it in a certain way. So where you're born, the age group you're born into also matters. So the respect thing is subjective. I think it just gives more context. But if you're able to disrespect someone, not intending to disrespect the person, because intentions matters, but people don't see intention, they only see action. if you're at that point ready to correct it, and especially if that person's idea of you matters to you, the person that is giving the disrespect unintended, the person that's receiving the disrespect, if they correct you and you're ready to take the corrections, you can easily assuage the mistake and mend parts. But all these things are subjective based on observers and also based on the two parties, both the person receiving the disrespect and the person giving it not intending to. That's
Thank you so much, Mr. Billy. You have said so much. And I want to make sure that we are not missing any of the important points that you're making. You've talked about the dimension of intention and the dimension of action or perception, which hopefully we'll be able to circle back to how to ensure that these two are in tandem, that you're communicating what you intended. But thank you for breaking it down. It looks to me like you've implied that there was no victor, there was no villain, there was nobody essentially at fault. This is just something for us to be able to learn from. So some questions popped up in my mind while you were speaking, and I'm going to need to bring them back to the fore. But I'm going to allow Mr. Taiwo to also share his initial thoughts. Mr. Taiwo, when we're addressing people, especially famous people, what I've noticed generally is that we're not likely to put titles. Yesterday, when I was reflecting on this, I looked at the late Michael Jackson. Everybody says Michael Jackson. I look at presidents of countries. We call them by their names, usually when they are not there. Name it. We are Aliko Dangote. I've hardly called his name behind his back and put a Mr. or put an Alaji or whatever it may be, the appropriate title. But it now looks like, and I'm not seeing a lot of backlash. Now I'm talking about famous people when that is done behind their backs. But when they are there and then the same tone is repeated, then it looks like there will be backlashes. What does this say about respect to you? Where do you think the gap is, and what exactly is happening in that context?
So I believe when we are talking about the end of that, they are not there, right? You can call them whatever you want. That is you. Depending on individual, you can still respect people even if they are not there, right? You can still add those titles. You can, depending on your relationship with them, depending on how you see them, depending on what kind of value or what kind of interest they hold on you. Say you have a mentor, and then probably your mentor is not there, and you're trying to tell somebody else about your mentor. You address your mentor the way you normally address him, right? Yeah, you don't call him, you don't call him by name. I don't expect you to call him by name behind his back. But for people like Michael Jackson, for people like Davido, these are their brand name. These are what they go by when they sing. So it's not like they have a special title to their name. It's just like a brand name. Like Whiskey is a brand name. Davido is a brand name. Michael Jackson, that's what people know him, and that's what his brand name is. So he doesn't go by what he called. If you look at President Obama, there was a time he corrected Trevor Noah on national TV that you don't call me Barack. Barack is my best friends. You address me as President Obama. Like he literally corrected him on national TV. So I believe, like she already said, one thing that comes to mind when I watch the movies and when I watched the video was that you are seeing this person for the first time. That's your first meeting with him. Let people tell you what they want to be called. You address them by Mr. First and or Mrs. First. And if they don't like it, if they don't appreciate it, they will tell you they don't appreciate you, and tell you what they want to be called. That you are being taught to in the banking sector to call by your first name does not mean that everybody appreciates that. I mean, you have to be able to read the content of the person. You have to be able to read the what we call read the room. For instance, I was at work one day and I addressed my colleague by his first name, and it was like he doesn't want to be addressed by that. He wants to be addressed by uh, either a short form of his name, right? He literally to so if we are going back, oh, it's the white culture that we have to a place of work, we call people by their first name. There are people that have preferred name, and their preferred name is not necessarily their first name. So they will tell you what they want to be called. So I believe at that instance in that room, also when I watched the entire video, the people that came before are addressed in either standing on existing protocol or good morning, sir, or this or that. You should be able to follow that protocol. Not, I don't know what was going through our mind or what the issue was, but I believe at that point in time, you are not the first person to speak, and you are not the second person. So I believe you could have just standing on existing protocol or just follow the same. So because you all of you are people together in the same what we call in the same banking school. However, those that came before you never addressed him by the name. So I believe you could have just read the room and then follow suit on based on what others have called
Are you okay?
called
From this
called called in. Sorry. So it's a dicey situation, right? Yeah, you are trying to juggle between the father. Oh, they taught me this, or and this is what is expected of me as an African what we call. And I saw the runner video that say, oh, Mr. Elizabeth is not correct. There's this video of a girl that he had interviewed with in Stanford, and something comes to my mind. Something comes to my then cultural differences. Cultural differences. It doesn't matter whether you are from Africa or what's it called. When you are here, you behave. When you are in Rome, you behave like a Rome. So when you are here, whether somebody, it doesn't matter whether you are 90 something years old, they call you by name, you answer them because that is how they are being brought up. This is their culture. And then if you are back in Nigeria, you invite that your culture because that is the beauty of cultural differences. When people go to other people's culture and other people's country, you behave the way they behave here. And then when people come to your own country, as well, to their culture, and you behave the way they behave there. You don't say because I'm in America, I have to enforce that culture, African culture in Nigeria, here in America. And you don't say because I'm in Nigeria, I have to enforce the culture of the West. It doesn't. I believe it doesn't work that way. Each country has their own culture, and we should respect individual culture. So that's my first take on it.
Thank you very much, sir. You've made wonderful points. First of all, I noted that you talked about the difference between brand names and how people should be addressed. And you answered my question spot on with that. And then I noted your emphasis on cultural difference and adaptation as important in the communication of respect. Now, I'm going to ask Miss Ebele this question because it looks to me like she's been in the corporate world for some time. Now, Reverend Akonde mentioned these mixed signals in corporate worlds. The world is now very global. How can, and the question is not to be answered now because Reverend Akonde will still speak before we come back to you, but I wanted you to note it from your experience in the corporate world. How can the corporate world not confuse people? But Mr. Oshonide has said something that might seem to partly be an answer, which will be that there should be exceptions. Now, the world where we are, there are patterns, right? But there should be times when a person should have some organic intelligence or some organic awareness. Because at the end of the day, we are not program robots. We should be able to read the room. And I think Reverend Akande alluded to that. We should be able to read the room to say, okay, even though I've been taught to do this, given this situation, I think that this is how I should approach it differently. But again, what can corporate organizations do? How can they improve on this, their curriculum on how to address people? We want you to talk about that later. Reverend Akande, what is respect? One of the things that came to mind when I saw this video is that what exactly should be the principles that we undergird respect in different cultures? Is respect unidirectional? Is it multi-directional? Now, with all due respect to the well-respected Mr. Tony Elumelu, he said, "You wouldn't address me like that." One of the questions that couldn't have been answered on that floor is why. So, not talking about him now, talking on the general note. Is it because of age? Is it because of status? Is it because he was in the public? You know, in some cultures, they will say when a man and a woman get romantic, the man will tell the woman, "Call me by my name and pull my beard," because they are within a closed system. What exactly should be the ingredients? What the lady would have, what could have been running in the mind if she thinks of, maybe I've communicated respect. What should be those ingredients, those principles that undergird, first of all, respect as a value, and then maybe second, communicating it? Because what I see in this conversation, and I'm happy that this is coming to my mind, is that it looks like we are paying attention to the communication of respect much more than the value of respect. It looks to me that it is possible to communicate respect without actually having the value of respect.
Yeah.
It looks to me like that. And I feel like the communication of respect without the value of respect will make the society look like a white sepulcher. It will look like everything is going on well. But we can go behind the backs of people and talk them down. And when they are not there, we can do things that are disrespectful to them. But when they are there, we want to communicate it so that they can accept us. So I know I've taught different dimensions, but what are your thoughts in this regard?
Okay, so it's a loaded question. Now, before we can answer such a question, we'd like to know that respect is universal. Every society, every tribe, every country has their way. Their own way of communicating respect to one another. But even though respect is universal, its language is cultural. The expression of respect is cultural. I would like to say respect is, respect as accent. If you permit me to say that, respect as, accent. The expression of respect is meant to be treated in respect to the context where, that respect is being communicated. Okay, so I shared a story when I was reacting to the video. I shared a story of when I attended a Pan-African Writers Association conference. From that name, you should know that is a gathering. It was a gathering of African writers, and this was a conference where we see notable African writers, old writers like Professor Niyi Oshundare, Dr. Wale Okediro, and many others like that. And there was a young man who was resident in the West that called in And everybody was addressing this old man with their titles, Professor Shodari, Dr. Okedira, and all of that. And this young man addressed Professor Shodari as Nii. And you could see that everybody was shocked, even though it was not, there wasn't any formal written agreement that we should address each other, one another by our titles and all of that. But because we were Africans, so it was known naturally that we should respect that. So I say respect is universal, but is a way of expression. Is expression should be cultural. Now, having said that, if first names, so for instance, Tony is acceptable in one culture, and when you get to another culture, it feels uncomfortable, to you hearing your first name, should decide, the respect. Who should decide or constitute what constitutes respect? Who should decide? For instance, in the gathering where I just mentioned that now in the conference, who should pass it across to others that this is the way we should address each other? Is it the society? Is it the community of people? Is it the people at large, or the institutions in such a society? So that's the question we should ask ourselves. In Africa, for instance, I want to believe that we know that there are levels of relationships where we learn how to behave in society, where we learn how to communicate respect, where we learn how to greet and all of that. One of them is the family, then extended family. When I say family, I mean the nuclear family. Then before we move to the extended family, then to the compound, that the Yoruba people call Agbole, the compound. Those are the places you learn how to behave when you go to the larger society. Then you move to your lineage, you move to your, the community and the kingdom at large. Those are the places, and that's why when you introduce someone, for instance, in many African cultures, when you introduce someone to your child, you don't mention their names. You don't say, for instance, this is Niji, or this is Toby, or this is, you say, this is your uncle. This is, the sister to your so person and all of that. So, my point is that respect is what a people call respect. Yeah. So it is what a group of people agree that to call respect. As a matter of fact, it's one of the ingredients of what we call cultural doctrines. Just like in the church, we have language, we have, when it comes to our doctrines and all that, we have language, we have, code and everything that we come that we bring together to form a doctrine. So every culture also has, those things. So to answer your question, respect is what a group of people have agreed to call respect. Now, it now becomes a problem when one culture is now treated, or the expression of one culture is now treated as a universal definition of respect. I started by saying every culture, every society has the way of expression of their or the way of expression of their communication of respect to one another. So it becomes a problem when we now treat one culture, or one expression of respect in a culture as a universal definition of it. So that will bring us to the fact that, even if we adopt a Western style in Africa, for instance, in our workplace, just like Miss Ebele was saying the other time, even if we've adopted the architecture, the HR, the office setting, and everything we do in Africa in our workplaces, even if I don't think we need to also dogmatically adopt expression of respect, for instance. Okay, so there is a way we can agree that, okay, respect is known in the West. Respect is known by us too. Now, let us contextualize our own respect, even at workplace. Let us say this is the way. Because, for instance, one of the reasons, maybe I'm dwelling too much on one of the reasons why they say they should call one another their first names in the West. One of the reasons is to give room for personal autonomy, preference or something like that. That's the way I want you to call me. But I would like to say there is hypocrisy in that too. If you are giving people autonomy to decide what you should call them, and you are now saying they should, you are giving it as an etiquette or ethics of the job that everybody should call one another their first name, then there is no autonomy in that. You have not given them the room to say, you should call me by my, by my, I may add a title to my name. You have, I'm only giving them an option that they should call one another by their first names. Okay, and that is not what an African culture portrays. For instance, in Africa, let me talk about two things more before I stop. Respect is shown in our language. Okay, and that is why you see that in Yoruba, for instance, and many other African cultures, you have different words to show respect. You have a word for you is you in English, but in Yoruba and many other African languages, you have a word for a word like o, that means a singular you. You have a word for you have as a word that means you in plural. You have iwo, you have eni, and all of that. Now, let me now paint a scenario. If that lady was to call Tony Elumelu, if she was to address, if they were speaking Yoruba, for instance, would she have said Karo Tony? She would have said Karo, which shows respect in our language. Okay, if you should agree with me that when respect enters the grammar of a people, that is no longer an etiquette. It's a worldview of such a people. Okay, so that has to do with language. Now, let me go to greeting, for instance. In African culture, and I would use Yoruba again as an instance. I know a few other African cultures like Ewe culture in Togo. I know that greeting in our language or in our culture is a serious thing. You see boys prostrating, you see girls kneeling down, you see us having some verbal inquiries about our well-being. After greeting them, you still ask about their children, their relatives, their yesterday, their nights, and all of that, and that suggests something. Okay, you see us removing cap when we want to greet and all of that. Those things communicate something to us. It shows that I recognize your presence, I recognize your our relationship, I recognize my position, relative to yours. So all those things come together to form our worldview as Africans. So it is what we have agreed as a people, and it has been transferred, to us from one generation to another. And and because we have an obligation to protect this doctrine that I call cultural doctrine, there's no way we won't talk about it when someone wants to go against it. Okay. So I think I've said a lot.
We have some comments on what you just said.
Yes, you will, ma. You will, ma. And please take note of the comments because it's your turn to speak actually. And then you will write on all of it. You can start from the comments. But thank you, Reverend. You have delved very deeply into the cultural dimension. And I think that people might need to listen all over again to be able to systematize this talk. But it looks to me that this can become a book because you are mentioning so many components and dimensions to it. But I'll move quickly to Miss Ebele because it's her turn to speak and she wants to actually speak. Miss Ebele, you have been invited to talk about how corporate organizations will avoid sending mixed signals or having their young staff confused. But in addition to that, and the comment you want to make on Reverend Akonde, are young people being cheated when it comes to some cultural dimensions of respect? Are poor people being cheated? Are people that are not famous being cheated? Is it possible for respect to put some people on the margins? Is it possible for respect to be hegemonic and sound forceful? Maybe later on, Mr. Oshunide will tell us about, should respect be demanded? Should it be taught? Should it be learned? But what do you think, given this cultural dimension, especially the culture where I believe that all of us on this panel share by virtue of our roots? I was saying something yesterday when we were talking, you and I. I said nobody determines when they were going to be born. The time a person is going to be born is not of their own determination. So we realize that when it comes to the age of people, they didn't choose it. So is there an imbalance, an injustice? Is it possible for respect to have some unjust dimensions? Please feel free to take care of our champion. Yes, please. And just let us know when you are ready.
Okay, I'm ready. Yes. I can talk, Papa.
Yes, please go ahead, ma'am.
So first off, I would like to just let all the speakers know that I'm comfortable you calling me Ebele. Okay. I'm comfortable with you calling me Ebele. And with regards to what you asked me, for Tony, Mr. Tony, see, I don't enter my own wahala. For Mr. Elumelu's situation, preference is key. If they want them to relate to customers and say, and call them by their name, that could be what he wants for his business. But then personal branding is also different. Personal branding has a different identity from company branding. So preference for personal branding could be that he wants everybody else to call him Dr. Mr. Elumelu until you've earned the right to call him by his first name. But then business-wise, the customers should be called by their name because that breeds, bless you, because that breeds familiarity. But then we also know that over familiarity breeds contempt. So it's finding a balance between the two. You talked about how language can be used as a form of respect, which is true. And it reminded me of a video that trended recently. It was of Davido. He had just finished a game with his uncle, and I think he beat the uncle. So he was bragging and said, uncle, I beat you. See, yes, now I beat you. And the uncle said, you beat me? And he said, no, I did not beat you. And he there and there removed his cap and he double-legged for the uncle. But it was all in jokes. But being a Nigerian and an African, you can see the underlining of whether it was a joke or not. The uncle was just saying, you're saying that you beat me, like taking it out of context of the video saying that he beat him in the game. Are you okay? Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, just give me 1 second, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Billy. And we will definitely allow you to come back to your thoughts because I know you have a lot to share. Mr. Taiwo, I asked previously, and I know you've listened to the other panelists and seen some of the things that they have said. You might have some comments, which we will definitely welcome. Should respect be taught? Should it be earned? Should it be demanded? What is the importance of respect in a society? What will happen to a person if they are perceived to be disrespectful? What will happen to the society? And I'm asking this particularly for the young people who might be thinking, what is the issue? Some of us have matured enough and we have had both the value and the communication of respect ingrained in our, in our lives, so to say. But for young people, they've been thinking, what is all this about? Why do you think respect is important? And then what would be your thoughts about demanding respect, earning respect, and teaching respect?
Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about. I mean, when you ask, the poor, the rich, the what's it called?
The young.
Yeah, I think for me, respect has nothing to do with whether you are poor or rich.
Mm,
Respect is respect. Um, that you are poor doesn't mean that you should not be respected,
mm,
and that you are rich doesn't mean you should not be respected. And that you are small doesn't mean you should not be respected. Everybody deserves respect, whether you
mm,
are a kid or an adult, whether you are rich or you are poor, whether you are a man or you are a woman. Everybody deserves to be respected. And that that you are a kid doesn't mean I should not respect you.
mm,
Doesn't mean I should treat you without respect. I mean, I might not call you I can't wait call you. You might not call the person. I mean, saying you are than you, like uncle or auntie, but that doesn't mean that you should not give them the respect they deserve. So, for me in that scenario, I don't see respect as uh, for some set of people, and respect is not for some set of people. Respect is universal. Respect is for everybody. Even in the Western world, people command respect. Some people will tell you, put Mrs. to my name. Like, put Mr. to me. You don't call me by my first name. The Western world that we're trying to so hard to copy. There are people that will tell you in the Western world that we're trying so hard to copy that you cannot call me by my first name. You add Mrs. to my first name. There are people that will tell you that you call me by doctor. You don't call me by my name. I mean, I've worked so hard. They will tell you I've worked so hard to get that doctor, and then you will not disrespect that. And that is still the Western culture. You will not disrespect me by calling me my name because I've worked so hard to get to that point in which I am in my career. So I don't think respect is for some set of people. So it's for everybody. And to answer your question, respect can be taught, respect can be demanded, respect can be made. Just like the example that I made, you call me by my, you add doctor to my name, you add
mm,
professor to my name. If the person did not see that did not give me fit to call you professor, then you need to tell the person. They will tell the person that spot you add professor to my name. I mean, I was in a class, in a class, or I was starting a class, and then the professor sent out an email, and it was like, you are not going to call me by my first name. In any email you are sending, in any question you are asking, you have professor in it, and this is a white guy. You are Professor Smith. That is his preference. That is what he wants. So it demands you are just a student, you are probably a master student or an undergraduate student. He has worked his ass off to get to that point where he is. And then the doctor name, the professor name is not just for routine sake. I mean, he needs it in his name. And that, I mean, some people go to school because they want that doctor. I mean, some people get how do I feel now? Some people go to the PhD route, not because they like research, but because they just want that doctor to be at the back of their name. And when you call them by that. So and also in our culture, we teach respect right from childhood. Our parents teach us that, you prostrate, you do this, you when you see an elderly person, you greet them, you prostrate flat. In fact, sometimes when I was growing up, you don't do that. My mom will ensure that you do that in her presence. Like, you
mm,
would if you decide to put your hand on the ground and say you greeted the person, she will tell you to prostrate, and you have to prostrate. So growing up, respect are taught. At some point, respect can be you can earn respect based on how people see you, based on the values that you've provided to the society, based on the impact that you've made on people. You can earn people's respect, and they respect you. And then also respect can be demanded. If you feel like you are in a position that you're in a probably high position, and then you can tell somebody like probably you are the chairman of the company. You don't call me by my name, you call me chairman. I've worked so hard to build this all these brands. and you are not in the caliber of people that will call me by my first name. I mean, it's not like people don't call me when with first name. I believe there are caliber of people that calls him by his first name and he does not get angry. Like they are the same set of people that there are people that can call him by his first name and he will not get angry. So he can command that respect that he can deem that respect that you will call me by Chama, you will call me by this, you will call me by that. I remember growing up when I was in school. For instance, we have okay that somebody is in my level, that we are in the same level in university does not give me the right to call that person by his name. Like there are people that are way much older than me when I was in school. That does not give you the right to call the person by name because we are level mates. Yeah, we are the level mates, but we are not age mates. Like this person is way older than me. And if you don't want to call him by his, yeah, you don't want to put bro or brother, what you call, you look for a nickname and call him by the name. I mean, people call it somebody Sadis, Sadas in school, Sir Lewis. Oh, there was a man living in my apartment then. We call him Sir Lewis, Sir Lewis. Even though we call each other people name, everybody else is called by name. But this man is being called Sir Lewis. And that's because this man is old enough of that this man, and that's because the man is old enough to sorry my bad. All right.
Okay.
So that means the man is, and that's because the man is old enough to what's it called to be somebody's uncle or somebody's dad. So we call him Salary, Salary, Salary. Every other person else is called by name, but this man is called Salary, 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 Salary. You don't call him Lewis. I mean, why would you call him Lewis? I mean, in fact, when you go to the apartment, people are calling him Salary. So that's why I said you read the room. People are calling him Salary, and then you come and say Lewis. I mean, come on, when people that are even older than you are calling this man Sir Lewis, and you come into the room and say Lewis, what are you trying to prove? What are you trying to achieve? So, to answer your question, respect can be demanded, respect can be taught, and respect can be earned. It all depends on the, on scenario. And also, one thing that I want us to know is that for the younger generation is you might be skillful, you might have the old skills in the old world. What keeps you in the room, what keeps you in a position is your character. It's not that skill. Yeah, you might be good as what probably anybody. You might be as good as you can, but if you don't have character, if you don't treat people well, if you don't treat people with respect, uh you might fall down the pecking order. I was listening to Mrs. Mawashika, and she made this. I mean, she was talking about this analogy about when she was in the bank, she had friends that are entrepreneurs and what's it called. She addressed them by bro Fola, bro Ayo, bro this, bro that. And then she said her sister walking one day and was saying, "Oh Ayo," and she was like, "You will not call in Ayo." And she was like, "Oh, this is what we do in the bank." And she was like, that might be the cost they are trying to bring right now. But nobody that worked in the bank 20, 10 years ago will accept that from you. I mean, they might accept it like say, oh, you're putting, but it is going to show in the way they treat you, in the way they respond to you. Or so yeah, you might be calling him name and he does not say anything. But trust me, he's not comfortable with it. And he's going to probably, as an African, he's not comfortable with it. And it's probably going to show in the way he probably responds to you or in the way he probably treats him. And so there is a lot to this oh, it's a bank principle, is it this, is it that. If I have friends in the banking sector, there are people that they don't call me, even though they say call them by their first name. They don't call them by their first name. They just I mean find a way around to be able to like call them and without defending the policy, they find a way to like either you call them by oh their nickname or just find a unique name for them. By that way, you're not calling them their first name. You are giving them the respect that they deserve. I think that's my information.
Mr. Taiwo, thank you very much. We'll quickly go back to Miss Ebele, and then we're going to go around the room one more time. Miss Ebele, is it a good time for you to?
Anytime is a good time, but it can change.
We understand.
So I also believe, like I was saying, familiarity breeds contempt, but a lot of businesses tend to use first names because they're trying to bridge that gap with their customers. We all know that sometimes putting all them doctors and Mr. kind of puts like a wall from relationship. That's why in our own African we say egbon or uncle. Like we tone down, even though it's respectful, but we tone it down so that the person is still close to us or still approachable. So businesses probably use first names because they want clients and the employees to remove that distance between them, do you get, and be able to serve them more. So that's a perspective that we haven't explored. And you had asked me if you said poor people are being cheated, and then you said something else. I believe that they are
Young
trying to survive,
people,
first of all.
young people, poor
Young
people,
people.
those that are not
Well,
famous. Is
the
there a
issue
way
of
that respect can put these people in the margins? Can it, you know, is there a way that it can favor some people and be detrimental to others, if you
of
understand what
course,
I mean?
of course, that's why in the business or in the office place we have something like a kissing. I don't want to say the full word because, but if you get what I mean, you know what I mean. A SS kissing. So there is that, and it's basically being performative in who you do eye service for, right? So yes, it can put you in certain sweet spots, and then it can also do the reverse. So that's it. As for whether poor people are being cheated, a lot of times they're trying to survive. So there's no social class conversation or education. There's no etiquette education. There's no, in this room, this is how you behave. There's no one mentoring you. Are you okay? There's no one mentoring you or on how to behave, like how you said, situational awareness. They might not even know what that means. Like, what is that? Like, do you get? Like, we're out here trying to survive. I haven't even gotten the job or the networks to put me in that room. And these are the things that are limiting. Young people, it also matters on how they grew up, the environment they grew up, the class they grew up. So, who are the people that they meet? And that's why I tell my friends that we have to work hard because our friendship circle now are the people that our children will be saying, my uncle, my connection. Like
Yeah.
these are the people that are my children's connection because you're building foundations. But in the future, if you're trying to build a legacy and build wealth, or rather, if you're building a legacy and building the wealth and you want it to move forward, is the circle of people that you have that your children will grow up with, and they get to also build. So it's where they grow up, the church, the clubs you joined, all those things has a way of making or marrying the story, and those threads matter. So in every way you weave it, respect comes into play, honor comes into play, it's a culture comes into play, but preference also comes into play. And I think coming to the US now has taught me how to navigate sensitivity. There are a lot of times you don't know what is sensitive, what is not. I I think to be safer, you would ask, like how how we just always say, sorry, are you okay? Sorry, sorry. A lot of people here will think you're taking the blame for it. But so I always say this is how we show empathy. Like a lot
Yeah.
of the students that I worked with would say, but Mr. Bele, you're not at fault. You didn't do this. And I'll say, please understand that when I say sorry, I'm saying it out of empathy. Doesn't so I always explain it for them to understand. But going forward is even I've learned to curb not to even say sorry. I now say, are you okay? It's only those that I've gone close to that I can now say sorry, or maybe it's because I've explained it before and they understand. But I'll just say, are you okay? So there are contexts to these things when you're doing cultural or you're going global, right? You need to also merge the westernization, especially if you don't want to, if you travel a lot and you're learning cultures and you're absorbing, you need to be able to merge to know what works in this environment and how to not also lose your identity or lose yourself.
Hmm.
That's what I would say. That's So it's not one size fits all, and it's
Yeah.
not one situation fits all, really. So he, in his case, there's that distance. There's no familiarity, because if he was a younger person who he was familiar with, he may have joked like how Davido's uncle joked and said, "So you want to beat me? So you want to beat me?" Because there's that familiarity, do you get? And as Davido understanding that there's cultural subtext that wasn't said, just quickly removed his hat and double it, and it's like, "No, I cannot beat you. I cannot beat you." And he hugged his uncle, but you can see that familiarity and
Yeah.
that banter. But if it's not someone that you're close to, even just saying that already puts you at a red with the person. So the whole putting titles for businesses, like I said, businesses would want to do that because they're trying to bring customers closer. We are one, we care about you, we're approachable, we are open. This is one of the ways you can see that we are this. But then their leaders, individual reputation that is different from, excuse me, yes, yes. So why did we talked about this? It's okay. It's okay where it is. Okay. So in yeah, in doing that, businesses have their own identity, but then their leaders also have their own identity, and preference matters in terms of how the leaders want to be addressed on relationship basis and on a one-on-one thing as well. Because if it was a different man or woman, he may have been kinder. And remember, it's not only just her, there were a lot of people there. So he's also sending a message out to everybody. So at this point, it's a teaching moment, not just her. It just happened that she was the one standing. It was also a teaching moment for everybody that was there. See you. Yes, you say this about the business, but me, personal brand, everybody take note. This is how I'll prefer for you to address me. The end. And that's it.
So I would like to add to what she
Okay, very briefly, sir.
so which is which is there is how should company address policies and stuff like that, and that is what where comes in preferred means, because there is always this irrespective of whether the policy says should cover a first name, preferred name supersedes that. I will tell you the preferred name I want to be addressed. So if there is a policy that says called by their first name, because normally people sometimes people don't that this is their first name is not the name they are being called or it's not the name they want to be called. So there is this option of preferred name. If they are going to a conference and you are filling a form, after your name, they'll ask you your preferred name. So you can put in Dr. This or Mr. This or what's it called. So there's always a preferred form of what I want to be addressed as. So I believe over the what's it called the first thing of the thing, there should be a preferred name. Like what do you prefer to be addressed as? So if because I don't want Mr. I might try to put in a nickname. That way I know that when people call me by my nickname, I'm comfortable. It's not that they are. There's no disrespect when it comes to nickname. Nickname is nickname. You cannot put Mr. Something. Is nickname is nickname. So if you want to put your nickname as a preferred name, put your nickname as a preferred name, and people address you with that. If you want to be called preferred by Mr. What you call, put your Mr. as your preferred name. One of the reasons why I think people started calling your first name emanated from what's it called Silicon Valley, and as a result of they want the best idea to win, not because you are the senior, you are the boss. That's why your idea is taken. But they want to be free to like give their ideas out, and then not be afraid that my boss that I'm calling Mr. or Professor has an idea and probably his idea is the best because it is superior. But they want to touch that irrespective of irrespective of your hierarchy, you can give idea and the best idea wins. So that is where the issue of first name coming emanated from. So and that still doesn't mean that it should be applicable to everybody. I mean, yeah, people going on, people find it easier to like relate very well in businesses based on first name and stuff like you're not scared of this, you're not scared of that. But still, there are people that will still tell you this is my preferred name, and you have to just apply by that preferred name.
Thank you so much, Mr. Taiwo. You have brought a lot of light, knowledge to the origin and how we still need to be dexterous, we still need to be aware of our environment. And I appreciate Mr. Bailey also for pointing at the corporate dimensions to this. Personally, I have to listen to this conversation again because a lot of layers to it have been laid bare. But now we'll go around the room maybe just one more time before we take final remarks. And I'm going to go to Reverend Akande. How can we disagree with people respectfully? Now, one of the things about respect is that it will flow when there's agreement. It will be easy, at least I will assume, when there is no tension. And again, with all due respect to the people who might think this relates to them, there was a recent election in your state. By privilege, I know your state, Mr. Akande. And then we have this younger musician and an older governor being at loggerheads politically. Yet we are in the same culture. How can we communicate respect? And I know that you are interested in politics and you are interested in how our society can be better politically and in other related dimensions. Is it possible to respect people and to still be different and to be able to communicate our differences? You will know what I mean by the obedient movement. Maybe not all our listeners will know, but one of the tags that they have, and this is a political movement, is that they are perceived as disrespectful. He also wrote a book, Sorosoke, which means speak aloud. We had this time in Nigeria. What was it called? What was this last major protest called? NSAS protest.
Yeah.
Where there is blood, where life is involved, is it still possible for people to maintain respect? And then finally, to add another context to this, there was a time one of the former presidents, again of Nigeria, I'm talking about Nigeria now, not because Nigeria is the only relevant country, but because I believe our panelists can relate to it. There was a time where a president was giving national awards to people. And then we had these young people who were, social justice advocates. Some of them put up some straight faces, and in a bid to protest, they put up things that showed they were not satisfied with the government, that some people may tag as disrespect. How do you think this can be navigated?
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much. This is an interesting question, and that will make me say a little thing concerning the fact that young people and poor people are being cheated in the society, and because that's exactly what led to disrespect from young people towards the old people, especially in our context, in the Nigerian context, as you're trying to paint. You see, over the time, because of the respect for old people that is established in our culture, old people took advantage of that to cheat young people. And we must have noticed that a lot. And also the rich class also, and the political class also took advantage to cheat others who are less privileged. Okay. And because of that, and because I know that if a bully, for instance, or someone, an evil perpetrator, continues to cheat his victim, the victim might be pushed to the wall to want to react. Okay. And that is what our society has led to, the decadence in the way we treat people, our attitude to human dignity, has been eroded over a long period of time. And because of that, everybody is misbehaving, and that's to tell us that when we respect elders in an African culture, there is also an expectation, there is a responsibility attached to those old people, a responsibility of protecting the young people, leading the young people, guiding the young people, comporting ourselves that we are old and we have wisdom. Okay, and I'll give you an instance that will lead me to my next point, that respect is a divine command. Okay, it is God Himself, and because we are Christians, and this is a Christian platform, and that's why I'm bringing that dimension. Respect is a divine command, and so if we do otherwise, it means we are going against the command of God. In Leviticus, God commanded the Israelites. He told them specifically, "Let the young people rise up for the old people." Let the young people rise up, when they see a person with the hoary head, that is a person with gray hair and all of that, that portrays wisdom, then you should stand up for that person. That's a command. And let me show us how it was demonstrated by someone. You will remember someone called Elihu. Elihu was present when Job's friends were talking to him. You remember those three friends of Job when they were talking to him? Elihu was the youngest among them. He just sat down. He was looking at them. You should sit down in. I mean that should be in Job chapter 32. Now, so he sat down. He listened to them. They demonstrated their wisdom. They demonstrated their folly. They demonstrated all sorts of things, wickedness and all of blame. They blamed their friend, but this guy was listening to them. He didn't interrupt. He listened to them. He let them say whatever they wanted to say. And, after they delivered their speeches, he rose up. The Bible says he rose up and he addressed them. He said, "You are very old. You are very old people. I've been afraid of you. I couldn't tell you my mind because you are old." That's respect. He was respecting them. He was talking to them in a respectful manner. And it is interesting to know that the next thing he wanted to say was to criticize them. He wanted to criticize them that you are old. You should demonstrate wisdom to your friend. You shouldn't criticize your friend when your friend is in pains. You shouldn't talk to him like that. The way you talk to him was demeaning and all of that. That's what Elihu wanted to say. But before he said it, he first of all tell them that they were old people. He respected them. He stood up. That's the way to do it, even though what they had done was wrong. So what I'm trying to say is that even though in our society we see old people, taking advantage of young people and all of that, and we must also talk to old people. But now, because I'm interested in young people, everything I do, the talk and the things I write, it's always directed to young people. Now, in as much as we know that there is, abuse from old people, we must respect them as a matter of obedience to divine command. We are respecting God, and we are obeying God. We are doing what He said we should do. We should obey. And you see that what Paul told to Timothy in 1 Timothy chapter 5 says that you should address older men as your father and older women as your mother. And you will see that in our Yoruba proverb that says, "Borogun ìyá ẹni bá ju ìyá ẹni lọ, ìyá là á pè." And I go forward to say, even if she's not as old as your mother, you still address, if your stepmother is your mother. So, and that is in our African culture, that whoever has the same age with our parents, or whoever looks like our parents, or whoever can mentor us, or whoever can is in an authority to share wisdom with us, then we must respect such a person. Okay, now let me now conclude by saying that we are saying this, that young people should respect old people. We must also talk to old people. We must also say that respect, okay, must not mean elders cannot be questioned. And that answers the question that can we disagree respectfully? Yes, we can say, "Sir, I disagree." Those two things have shown respect, and has also shown that you should also respect me. You should also respect my own opinion. Sir, I disagree. You know, there was a time I wrote that I wish that in our context, in our African context, we should grow. We should grow above thinking that when young people talk to the elderly, that is that's disrespectful. No, a young person can even know much about a topic more than the elderly people, but the way he communicates it, must show respect. Okay, children and younger employees must not be, must be able to disagree. That's my opinion. That's my thought. That you must be able that you are addressing someone, doctor or Mister or Mrs. or Miss in the place of work does not mean you should not be able, even if you should issue query to such a person, you should be able to do it as a young person if it's in line with the work. But the way we do it must show respect, must show. For instance, the example you shared about the young musician and the governor, yeah, that was a disagreement, but there must, the element of respect must be there. When Ebele was talking about Davido and his uncle, that video was not even his uncle. For you to know the richness of African culture on respect, that person was not even his uncle. That person was Wike, that can be also in an African context, can also be an uncle to him, because he has the age, he is the age mate of his uncle. His uncle just won an election, but Wike is in an opposition party. Okay, then he was bragging before Wike is a minister, and Davido was bragging before Wike that we won, we beat you. And he said, "Oh, you beat me, you beat us," and that was when he prostrated to say, "Oh, no, I didn't mean it that way," and all of that. For you to know that he was not even addressing his biological uncle, that was an outsider that he saw as an uncle. But when he was addressing another person who is also a governor, and because that governor also insulted his uncle, he had to react in that way by insulting him also. Even though I don't like that, I don't like that. But I'm trying to lay a background to show you what caused it. And that's where I started from. The decadence in our society, whereby the way the elderly people address young people at times, there's this thing that people say always, that Gen Z, the way they behave and all of that, they try to rubbish whatever they do and all of, it shouldn't be like that. Even if there's a difference in generation, if there's a kind of generational gap between millennia, for instance, or baby boom and all of that, and Gen Z, we should also recognize the fact that they have their own role in society. They have their own contribution whenever we come to table. Okay, and we should give them their own respect. And finally, I would like to say that respect, like someone has said, is a currency. The Bible says that the gift of a man opens door for him and makes him sit before great men. That gift that the Bible talks about is not talking about talents, it's not talking about skill, it's talking about gift, like a gift you give someone. Okay, so respect is a gift. So when you bring it to table, it will make you open the mind of the person you want to talk to. The person will be able to share, will be able to be open to share ideas with you, to share wisdom with you, whether old or young. Wisdom can be passed from young people to old people too. Okay, even though we think that it's only old people that can share wisdom with young people, it can be it can be vice versa. It can be in two-way. It can be a two-way thing. So that's it. If even though many things are wrong, we should talk to both sides, both old and young, that respect is reciprocal, but as an obligation. When you are respected as an old person, you must also be able to demonstrate a level of responsibility by guiding these young people, by calling them to order when they are wrong, and by also knowing that they are only young and they are trying to mature, and before you know it, they become whatever God wants them to become. And for young people, we should know that it's not only that we are respecting these old men and women, we are respecting and obeying the command of God. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, the Reverend Sunday Akonde. Respect is a command from God. Respect comes with responsibilities, and respect is a divine command. I have said that it is a gift that can open doors. Miss Ebele, as you round up with your final words, should we have a society where everyone is respected? And this question is very important to me.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
good.
we can come back to you if you need some
Oh yeah,
time,
good.
so no
No, it's
problem
fine.
at
It's
all.
fine. It's fine.
We're
You
going
said
to
you wanted to
respect
go
the
there.
young man's interest.
It's so
How
fine.
can we,
It's fine.
okay, how can we build, should we have a society, irrespective of the culture, irrespective of the ethos, where everybody is respected? How can we build that kind of society
That's not possible.
as
That's
as
an
you add
idealistic
your
world.
parting words? Okay, the floor is yours.
That I don't think that's possible. That's an idealistic world, and we don't live in an idealistic world. We live in reality. Mind you, respect is subjective. So what you term as respect is not what I term as respect. Intentions matter, but what we see is action. So, like I said, she, if I'm to presume, did not intend to be disrespectful,
Hmm.
but he felt the need to correct her, which means in some manner he felt disrespected. So if it's preference and subjective, there's no benchmark to make sure that everybody is appeased. Even in your family, you can't appease everybody, not to talk of how many families in how many continents do you get. So that's not realistic. It's just knowing how to manage the situation when it happens. That's what I would say. Additionally, you were saying, I think I may have lost my train of thought, but you were talking about how the young people can politely disagree. I agree, but I also have comments on that in the sense that it depends on the environment. If it's a workplace, if it's your family, because even with family, when you disagree with your aunties or your parents, there's emotional manipulation. Oh, you think you, because I sent you to school, you think you now know more than me. Do you get? Whether you're talking about your child with your mother, your what they are hearing is that you're telling them that they did wrong when they trained you and now you know better. They are not hearing that you're disagreeing objectively. They are seeing it in the lens of emotions. And I say this because I've had these conversations. So I try to put perspective from the person's point of view. That helps me feel less hurt. Do you get? So, and this is the family dynamics. Your parents feel that you're not old enough, so you know more than them. And it depends on the topic, it depends on the conversation. But there's always that emotional manipulation, there's a tinge of it. The doses varies based on the relationship and how you were taught to speak up, to question, to ask. I was privileged that my parents let me question things. They encouraged my inquisitiveness, my curiosity, and they answered a lot of my questions. I rarely ever got just because I told you to. If I had a question, they tried to explain to me why, and I tried to do the same for my son. But the thing is that with that, there's now some things that they may say or ask, that's they being the children. So my son, or I may say to my parents that they will think, "Ah, there's like some disrespect inside here," but then the intention is not to disrespect. It's just because there's that comfort of you're safe to question things. There's that openness, right? Then if you now bring it to a wider space, religion, church leaders, or the office, or at a conference like, um, I don't know, are you okay with me calling you Taiwo? I should say Mr. Taiwo. So, like
Okay.
what he mentioned, right? There's preferred name. But then if they say something and you disagree, sometimes it may come off safer for you to hold your disagreements in, because like he rightly said, first impressions matter. You don't want to step on the person's foot or make the wrong, because it's a networking place. And I let me give you an example. I had When I recently moved to where I am now in California, when I went to church, and I got introduced to somebody, and the person said Ebere. And I said, "Oh no, I'm not Ebere, I'm Ebele." The person didn't say anything. They took the correction, but then the person came back and told me months later that because I corrected him like that he completely just did not like me. He just suddenly disliked me. That he felt that I was arrogant and had all these titles for me and stuff like that. And in my mind, I did not know anything. Like it
Wow.
flew over my head. But he carried this for a while, and it's a he. So he carried this for a while until we got into getting comfortable talking. And then he then told me this. He said he would have preferred if I had corrected him alone, like I had else, because we were in a groups. Like I said, someone introduced us. He would have preferred if after the introductions, I maybe took him on an aside and said, "Okay, it's not a bere, it's a bele." But that me correcting him there and then, he felt embarrassed. I don't see it as anything, but then it's his respect, his rules, his
Yeah.
preference. So there are very little things like that, right? So that's what I would say, that in ideal world, you can't pick and choose. You can't please everyone. It's very individualistic, very subjective. So you
Okay.
just keep learning and growing with who you're dealing with, and also how they grew up. So, and that's learning to read the room, learning to read the person, and you won't always get it right,
Mm,
right? But then also balancing not losing yourself, because
mm,
you don't want to shrink to accommodate these things, and then you realize you now don't have a voice. And a third perspective will also be like, this thing that you're disagreeing, is it worth it?
Mm.
In the situation of the artist and the politician, I think it was an artist you said, right?
yes.
He felt that in that scenario it was worth it him disagreeing. So you would have to determine, the person voicing out would have to determine, pick your battles. Is this what, you know making the person feel disrespected or not? And
Thank you
then
so
decide
much.
to act accordingly, because you can have different conversations in your head on how you can approach this and not disrespect the person, and then the angle you choose will even be the one the person will find disrespectful.
Mm, thank you so much. In few seconds, what will you say to creatives, movie producers? Do they have a role to play in shaping the culture of respect in the society? Very briefly.
Yes, but also we we do have that responsibility, but then we also want to teach people to question things. We don't want you to take everything you see hook, line, and sinker. You should be able to question things. So the responsibility is two-way. We have the responsibility, yes, but then the onus is on you, the person. I'm just gonna. You can't go this way. The responsibility is on you, watching, to decide what to take and what not to learn
Thank
a
you.
filtering system.
Thank you so very much, Miss Ebele. Enebele. At least I didn't say Ebele.
You try
I
this time
said
around.
Ebele. Mr. Taiwo, what are your parting words? What are your words to young people? The world is getting more globalized by the day. Young people will continue to navigate different cultural matrices. What is your message to young people when it comes to navigating cultural bias in showing respect? And then what will be your
What did we have
words
this
to
time?
the public given the backlash? Let me characterize the response to some of the trending videos as a backlash, what would you say to people generally as your parting words?
So I will start from the last one. I will say, what I see is that people are doing, it doesn't, the whole situation does not work, that way I have done. Number one, Mr. Tony corrected the girl. She listened, she corrected herself and called him Mr. Edwin. He wasn't angry. From the video, he answered the questions that the girl asked him correctly and gave out, what he would actually have given her. So he wasn't angry, he was just like correcting, oh, I prefer to address by this. So it doesn't, I don't see it as something that these days people want to make, Elon Musk and Mark money. So every, what's it called, we put setting cameras. Because I thought I don't think that's something that should trend like that. It's just something that, she took correction about and then she corrected herself. And then he answered the question, and that's it. Case closed. I don't like this. I corrected myself. I called him, I asked my question. You answered very well. Case closed, and that's it. So I think the judge should be giving some breathing space. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody at some point in life will disrespect somebody. So it's not like we should not be acting as only as that. As one way or the other, you disrespect somebody. Even when you're in school, you disrespect your lecturer. So let's not be acting as only as that. Like we've not disrespected someone before, or like we've not called somebody else's name behind their back before. So let's be a breathing space. And then what I want to say is wisdom is principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom with all that things, get understanding. Whatever you find yourself, you get wisdom. Get wisdom. Like wisdom will help you navigate a lot of stuff. If she has applied wisdom there, and what's it called? If you would have what we're discussing today, we won't be discussing it. But if you had applied wisdom and read the room, that people are calling this guy, this man, Mister. It's not in every situation that you want to be different. It's not in every situation that you want to be different. People before you are calling him Mister, or they say existing protocol. You don't have to be different. Just follow the same what we call the same existing protocol that is already on ground. Greet the person that is being addressed and ask your question and move on. But wanting to showcase that you learned something or what's it called, I don't think you should. I don't think it's necessary. Also, I want to say to young folk is I don't think because you say you migrated from Africa to the West, I don't think you should lose your culture. You should lose your culture, or you should lose your value system. So that I'm expecting somebody say, for instance, there's someone that one of my mentors that I worked with when I was in Nigeria, like not worked with. I was an intern like years ago, probably 2013, like years ago, and it was already like working there as a analyst. And I've been respecting and I respect this person and what's it called. And then we happened to probably be in the same school and we were doing masters together and years later, like probably years later, yeah, and then we happen to be flatmates. Does that give him the right to be calling me or because he's in the US because we're in the US together? No, it does not give him the right to be calling me. I will give him the respect that he deserves. So I don't think location should change who you are. Location should not change your value. Location should not change your value system, who you are as a person. Oh, will I because I'm in the US call my father for his first name? Because people in the US are calling them by their first name. Will I go and call my dad and say I'll just call and say, hey, how far? No, I won't do that. So when you relocate away from a community to another location, should not what's it called? Should not give you the what's it called? The enablement to live your values. You should not give you the liberty to just disrespect people because you are in the Western world. Yeah, you are in the Western world, but that doesn't give you the privilege to disrespect people. You need to, give honor. People have to give honor to whom honor is due to. So respect people honor people. Um, yeah, the Western world might feel like, oh, people are calling to their name. Trust me, if you put respect to their name, they like it. So they like it. You call them Mr. This, Mr. That. I mean, the world that is telling you that, oh, call them names, but they are addressed by Mrs. or Mr. They like it and they enjoy it, and they will value you more. They will value you more as a person. So I would say to the young folk, I mean, you should stick by your values, irrespective of where you find yourself. Stick by your values, stick by your stick by your value system, your belief system, and don't change because you move to another environment. Yeah, you might want to like try to like adhere to the principle, to the culture of the environment that you find yourself. But that does not mean you should use yourself in the process. I mean, just saying, I mean, people are saying, oh, they are doing this in the West. That they're doing in the West doesn't mean you should do it in Africa. People in the
Mm,
West will not change their cultural belief because of us. People in the West will not change that. They maintain their cultural belief, and they
mm,
are not going to change their cultural belief because of what we think. We will adapt to that their cultural belief. We will adapt to that. I mean, when we all got to probably in Nigeria, used to throw dirt on the floor. When you go to the US, didn't you adapt to that culture? Do you say because oh I throw dirt in Nigeria, I'll come and throw dirt on the floor in the US? No, you adapted to that culture. You adapted to that. So our culture is our culture, and we have to. We have to be proud of our culture. We have to
mm.
adapt. We have to live by it. And when you get somebody else's culture, you behave like what I mean the way they behave there. But even though you are behaving like the way they behave there, that doesn't mean you should lose your belief. That doesn't mean you should lose your value system. That doesn't mean I'll say a 60 years old man walking on the road and calling by his name. I mean, no. So you should be able to like balance both situations, which is why Bible was saying wisdom is a principal thing in all the thing that you get understanding, be able to like apply wisdom at every point in life. That's what I have to say.
Wow, wow, wow. Let us give it up for this wonderful, brilliant, highly informed, very well spoken.
Well,
I think maybe his network misbehaved.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
So I was saying thank you. We want to appreciate you, the Reverend Akonde. We have learned so much from you. Thank you for the insights. Thank you for the information. Thank you for the wealth of knowledge. Miss Ebele, we want to appreciate you. Thank you for educating us. Thank you for sharing the nuances. And thank you for adding your voice and experience to this conversation. And Mr. Taiwo Oshunride, we are very grateful for the perspectives that you brought to the fore as well. This is the most robust contribution to the conversation that I've seen so far. So, for those who are watching and listening, if you're looking for balanced perspectives, broader conversations, and contributions to this discussion, please watch again and share with other people. On behalf of the Goodly Heritage Network, we want to say thank you. We are grateful for your time. We have used way beyond the time that we planned, and yet you have been patient with us. You have been kind to still remain on the program. We hope that when we invite you again to come and speak to us, whether on a roundtable like this or whether, as a colloquium or whatever other program, we hope that we will have the opportunity and the privilege to host you again. Please do enjoy the rest of your day. For those that will be joining in, please leave wonderful comments. Appreciate our panelists. We'll allow them to enjoy the rest of their day. Thank you, Sars and Ma. May God bless you. Thank
thank you.
you. Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
sir. Thank
Bye.
you very much. And that will bring us to the end of our roundtable today. So much has been said. At the end of the day, we are all work in progress. At the end of the day, what is most important and critical is that we are learning and we are getting better. Like one of our panelists said, no one knows it all. We are all work in process, or is it work in progress? We are all work in progress, and we must extend grace. It just shows that there is so much to learn, right? There are different cultures. Culture itself is transformative. Culture itself is evolving, and so on and so forth. And so the old people, we need to learn also about the young. The young, we need to learn about the old. We need to give grace to other people. And then, most importantly, to continue to uphold the dignity of personhood and to continue to learn about how to navigate. Oh, thank you for this link. Miss Ebele just shared the link. Miss Ebele, I'm going to bring you back to stage if you want to speak to this very briefly. Yes, I just saw a link, Ma. You want to say something about it?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. So I just put a link to my channel, like I had initially stated, that I am a filmmaker and I currently have a podcast called Get Intimate with Ebele, where I talk to everyday people about their everyday experiences that they may seem mundane, however, is inspirational to others. Pastor Toby has actually been on it, and we talked about from boyhood to manhood and what that's like, faith based and otherwise. So feel free to check it out. The link has been posted, and I believe Toby will do the needful. It's also called Get Intimate with Ebele. And I will go answer my son because now he's using my name to sing.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Ebele. If Reverend Akonde will not mind, I will also bring him to the fore if he wants to make mention of how people can, link up with him, reach out to him, some of his works. Reverend, do you want to just put a word out there for people that want to engage further with you?
Okay, I'm always on Facebook, Sunday Akonde. Just search for my name, Sunday Akonde. You'll see me on Facebook. So you can always send me. So I discuss some of my works on Facebook. I write about issues, societal value on Facebook. You can reach out to me in DM if there is any way. Then I also counsel young people on how to make right decisions, right choices in the face of human challenges. Okay, so that's the way to get in touch with me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So on Facebook, Sunday Akonde, you're going to meet the man of God, and he's going to welcome you and welcome the interaction that you will desire. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Taiwo, how about if people want to connect with you? How would they, do that?
Best is on LinkedIn. Taiwo Oshorinde, that's my LinkedIn handle. And then I have a personal website, which is www.taiwoshorinde.com. So there is where I share my, my work, my blogs, my research work. And I used to, like I said, do research and publish papers and stuff like that. So there is where I kind of share those kind of work. And if you want to reach out for, I like discussing things like this and sharing my view and opinion on things and like making an healthy conversation. If you want to reach out with my LinkedIn is Taiwo Oshorinde. You can just reach out and I'll be glad to respond. I'm not a Facebook person like that, though I have a Facebook account, but I hardly use it. But you can just get me on. I don't know if there's a way to type it. I'm not sure if I can do that, but it's Taiwo Oshorinde on LinkedIn, and my website is my first name, my last name.
Thank you very much. And then I know you are part of a foundation. Do you just want to speak briefly?
I'm running a foundation for sickle cell people in Nigeria, and then people that suffer from ovarian cyst. So we are trying to support in the best way we can, financially, material-wise, to help people, especially people with suffering from sickle cell disease, navigate their day-to-day life. And if they need material or if they need to pay some hospital bills, we try our best, the best we can to support financially. So you can also check it out. It's foundation.org. So the foundation is Foundation Foundation. That's in honor of my late mom who died from ovarian cyst. Anyway, so if you want to, if you can, anywhere in which you can be of help, or we can support you, or if you want to donate to the initiative, you can go on the website and actually donate. There's a online uh, giving platform there where you can donate to the initiative. We've held like two outreach, one in 2024 and one in 2025. So when you go to hospitals and people on sick bed, we actually pay for their hospital bills at that point. So we did UCH, we did our PMC Abeokuta, and we are looking to do another one next year by God's grace. So we are open to support and monetary support or resource support. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So that's it from Mr. Taiwo. Primarily is on LinkedIn. You want to know what he's doing as a geologist, as an expert on AI, and to know some of his contributions to social conversations, the foundation for those dealing with sickle cell and the ovarian issue, health issue, please reach out to him. I believe that he's going to welcome engagement with you. Thank you very much, sir. May God bless you. We want to give shout out to everyone that has stayed with this conversation. It's been a long one, probably the longest that we have had, but it's also been enriching. It's been stimulating. It's been educative. Let us continue to shape perspectives and make the world a better place with such conversations. We should be open to having talks like this, sharing perspectives. When we talk about it, then it will just be that we are getting closer to solutions. So I want to thank people that have joined in. I've seen a couple of people on YouTube. I believe that people have also joined in on Facebook. We appreciate you. Thank you for your time. I didn't receive comments. We are still open to comments. If you have them, please put them on YouTube, put them on Facebook. We will definitely respond to them as we see them. We've put up some of the information about our panelists on the video, so you can go back to rewatch. You want to see a website, you want to see an email, you want to see something about them, please feel free to rewatch so that you can find those information. Once again, thank you for joining in. May God bless you richly. All right, this is the Goodly Heritage Network. It is a faith-based non-profit. By the grace of God, we have programs like this every Saturday. And I want to give a shout out to the wonderful people that make it possible, people in the back room, people that work so hard, people that brainstorm, that plan, and are just a part of the partnership to ensure that the world is a better place. We want to say thank you. We meet every Saturday, different times in different time zones. For example, it is 3 p.m. West African time, 7 a.m. Pacific time. I just realized that it's 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. It is 9 a.m. Central Time. It is 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And we engage in different conversations, roundtable talks like that of today. We have colloquiums and seminars. We've had on overcoming addiction. We have had a roundtable on artificial intelligence and collective flourishing. There are so many conversations. Once you go to our YouTube page at Goodly Heritage Network, you're going to find different conversations, faith-enriching talks, prayer sessions that we believe would enrich your journey. We invite you to please visit our social media platforms. This is the major channel through which we reach out to people and through which we engage. And so we need your support, we need your engagement, we need all that you can contribute to ensure that these social media platforms get better. On YouTube, we are at Goodly Heritage Network. We invite you to subscribe. That will give us the opportunity for more people to engage with us. but it will also help you to know, once you're a subscriber, what programs are coming up, and then you get up-to-date information. Our Facebook and TikTok are waiting for you. We are not yet able to go live on Facebook or TikTok because we need more people. So if you can now or later, please go to Facebook at Goodly Heritage Network, follow, like, subscribe as it may be applicable. Also visit TikTok, same name at Goodly Heritage Network, and engage. We will appreciate you. We will love it to connect with you on those platforms. And then if you want to reach out, you have a program, you have something that you're doing, we look forward to those kind of partnerships. We want to hold hands with you on every endeavor that adds beauty and color to our world. Please send an email to us. It is Goodly Heritage Network at gmail.com. I'm going to put in, yes, please subscribe, like, and engage with us on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at Goodly Heritage Network. And then you would also see our email in the information that is scrolling underneath. Thank you for joining us today. Please send an email to Goodly Heritage Network at gmail.com. We want to hear from you. Please subscribe, like, and follow as the case may be. One of my most exciting part of what the Goodly Heritage Network is doing by the grace of God is our weekly prayer bulletin. We trust that knowledge is important, education is important, information is important, but we also know that we need to pray. We are a faith-based nonprofit, and it is to that effect that we have a team of people who work week in, week out to put up a prayer bulletin as a guide for us to pray. For example, in the course of this week, we have been praying for Kuwait, and praying for Kyrgyzstan, and praying for Laos. We have been praying concerning situations in the world. Indonesia needs our prayers. Colombia, or which country was that, needs our prayers. Things are happening every day. And as long as it is today, we invite people to pray. August 19 was the World Humanitarian Day. And in the month of August, we have talked about advancement, and we have been praying that indeed we will all advance in our desired front. We invite you to join in this weekly prayers. Share the bulletin with other people. And then we're not limited to praying on the content on the bulletin. We can also pray as God inspires us. The important thing is for us to pray, because indeed the just shall live by faith. And each time I talk about this prayer bulletin, I give a shout out to the team that designed, the bulletin, those that put up the draft, everyone working at the back end to invite people to pray. It is my prayer that God will beautify your lives in Jesus' name. Next week, by God's grace, we meet same time. Guess what we're doing? Every last Saturday of the month, we pray. We'll pray and pray and pray and pray and pray. We're going to pray concerning September. Thankfully, next week will be the penultimate day. It's going to be August the 29th. Okay, 2 days before the end of August. August is a special month. We have had 5 Saturdays in August, and we are thankful for all that the Lord has helped us to do as a network. Next week, we will be praying. That is what our last Saturdays are like. And so we invite you, join us to pray. We will pray about everything the Lord inspires us to pray about. We'll pray concerning healing. We'll pray concerning liberation. We'll pray for those in the trenches, those in the margins. We'll pray for politicians. We'll pray for leaders. We will pray for everyone as the Lord invites us. And it is always beautiful when we come together to pray. That hymn song says, "Oh, what peace we often forfeit, and what needless pain we bear, all because we do not carry everything to God in prayer." It is my privilege to have been a part of this conversation. My name is Oluwatobi Ife Adediran, and I'm privileged to be a part of this network. We look forward to seeing you next week, Saturday. We look forward to your continued presence, to your continued participation, and to your partnership. And we just wish you a wonderful weekend. Do enjoy the final week of the month of August. May God grant you advancement indeed, in Jesus' name. Let's pray together Dear Lord, we give you all the thanks, all the praises, and all the glory because you have blessed us through this conversation. Thank you for the insights. Thank you for the wisdom. Thank you for the recommendations. Thank you for the suggestions. Thank you for the openness. Thank you for the cordiality. Thank you for everything. So we ask that this conversation would make a shift in our hearts for the better. We'll pray that you will continue to open our eyes to insights that will provide opportunities, that will open doors, that will make us better, and will make our world a better place. Please bless all our panelists. They've been wonderful, they've been gracious, and they've been kind. We pray that you will continue to make them channels of blessings. We ask that you will be with us in the course of this weekend. You will make the new week ahead of us the best yet in the month of August. And I pray concerning every area where advancement is desired, that there will be advancement. I pray for somebody who desires breakthrough. The Lord will come through for you and you will testify. There are people without food. There are those that are looking for better health care. There are those that are weeping and mourning at this time. We'll pray, Lord, that your grace will attend to them like you attended to Agar. Please meet the needs. We'll pray for young people who are passing through hard times, that they will enjoy help from angels, help from people. We'll pray for those in high places, in positions of authority, that you will stimulate their heart to be of help to other people. Bless this network, oh God. We give you glory, honor, and praise. And by the time we come back next week, Saturday, we ask that we will be strengthened, we will be alive, we will be in good spirit, we will be in good health to be able to pray, and we will enjoy open heavens. All this we ask in Jesus' matchless name. Amen. We'll share the grace together, and may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship, the sweet fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forevermore. Amen. And surely God's goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our lives, and we will dwell in God's presence, in God's goodness, in God's favor, and God's mercy, even now and forevermore. Amen. Thank you for joining in. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Bye for now.